All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are officially here for the GFC semifinals. I am back with my co-host Animated J. Animated J, thank you so much for coming back. We have missed you. Welcome back, man. How you doing?
I appreciate the love. I couldn't miss this one. Like things are getting crazy, so I had to come for the semifinals. So I'm excited. It's gonna be wild, and every time, it's always someone blowing my mind and just adding more inspiration to the world. So it's dope.
Awesome. And taking care of the concept side today is going to be Lust and Trump. Guys, how you doing today?
Hey,
I'm so awake right now. I can't wait. I'm excited.
We
Great,
almost believe
dude.
you. We almost believe you, almost.
Almost.
And alongside me handling the trade side is going to be Starlight. Starlight, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Excited to see these final rounds or semifinals for that matter.
Absolutely, they're going to be a lot of fun. And our special guest for this episode and for this three-way battle is none other than someone who has been present in the online dance, tutting, and gloving communities for 10 years. She actually got her start in gloving and then kind of protruded out into other sorts of finger styles. She's been in videos with Finger Circus, along with commercials, including things for Karen Walker and Thermo Fisher Scientific. Ladies and gentlemen, Katz.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you being here. I know you've said it's been a while since you've seen some light shows, but I'm excited to have your take on this and have you weigh in and tip the scales one way or the other. For those joining at home, Starlight and myself, Lust and Trump, are each going to be responsible for 20 points of the Glover's scorecard, bringing their grand total they can earn up to 80 points. And Katz is here to provide the guest of 1.5 points on the wild card, meaning that she can give 1.5 points to anyone she desires that she feels deserves it. So who she feels is the winner of this battle in this in her eyes and through her lens. And with that said, all these judges are now able to provide half points out of those 20. So without further ado, let's get started with pod number 1, and let's go ahead and take a look. Today we've got Bear, Geometric, and Blunt. This is going to be fun. I'm very excited for this matchup. How about you guys? Any opening comments, remarks, or anything our audience should be aware of before we get started?
man, enjoy the show. And for everyone that submitted a video clip, I hope y'all went crazy because this is it, Like, we're at the semifinals, so y'all better go crazy.
All three of these guys are some of the most technical glovers there are right now. And it's crazy to see all of them go head to head against each other. I have no idea who's gonna take it. I wouldn't even guess.
I'm excited. Well, he started off round 3, and we're going to do it again and start off round 4 with Bear. Well, that was Bear. Animated J, take it away.
No, that was great. I enjoyed it. I felt like I was in a tornado watching someone do origami. Like they just kept on switching up and switching it, and here's this and here's that, and just layers. Like you could tell the experience, the knowledge of styles within gloving. Um, that lighting, the background really helped. It just creates an atmosphere, It's all about that atmosphere, that vibe. So I thought it was dope. Now I want to talk about the angles, because he was real technical and the lines and all these, points on the grid. So let's go with, Trump. What do you think about those lines? Was everything, perpendicular, parallel? What do you feel about those boxes?
Bear is always just crispy, super, super clean with everything. Um, Everything made sense. It was all logical movement, really pleasing to the eye. A little bit repetitive. I know he's got better in regards to that. Um, I did notice the ending was a little bit rushed, but as far as what I'm looking at on the scorecard, he was clean. His moves flowed from one to the other pretty seamlessly, not perfectly, but pretty seamlessly, and overall it was a great show.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Now I know you said about that ending. You weren't sound like you weren't really a fan of that ending. So I want to kind of bring it back to our other judges who are looking at that showmanship side. So I want to ask Starlight. I felt that I was like on a roller coaster. You know how a roller coaster slowly builds up and then it goes up and then it goes boom and then it drops and slowly calms down. That's how I saw this show. But what did you see? That whole, intro, beginning, body, conclusion. What did you see here?
Absolutely, Jay. Yeah, there was a lot of progression in the way that the delivery and the showmanship overarched in this show. There was a strong sensation of control, and that's always really appreciated when we have these kinds of more technical shows. That it where you're going looks like it has, a train of thought to it, and that can definitely help you restrain it. But to me, a lot of the showmanship, there was a bit more to be begged here. That I felt that there was a little bit too much certainty and not enough aggression. That there could have been a bit more of a punch behind this. So wonderful showmanship for sure, but the intention of where it was going left a bit to be desired for me. I don't know about you guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
Teddy,
sorry,
yeah, right, yeah. No, go
yeah,
for it.
no,
Hit 'em.
so, uh, I was the one that provided all the semifinalists with their tracks, and I chose this track for this group. All three of the Glovers we see today will all be using this same track, by the way. And so I wanted to see how all three of these could attack, because these guys are so tech heavy and they're so capable, and they all love bass music. So I figured this drum and bass track would be a nice, fun challenge. And I feel like Bear left a little bit too much on the table. I don't know how else to say it. I feel like there was just, even compared to his last round. There were a couple comments where I've like, that was good, where the people thought that was good, but Bear has done better. And I think this one kind of just almost exemplified that. And I feel like, I don't know if this was rushed or what, but I feel like he could have done a little bit more. I don't know how else to say it. I feel like
I could see his nerves.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I could see some of the anxiety, and it kind of caught him up from really being able to step into that powerhouse flow. So,
I
but
do want to add. I know this isn't on our side of the scorecard, but the isolation game.
oh,
I just want to talk about I just want to note that real quick. Like, just the isolation game in that light show.
Okay. Okay, isolation game, which is a great transition into Lust. Lust. Tell me about that. What did you see? There's this isolation game Teddy keeps talking about. I want to hear, what do you see here?
Yeah, I mean, Bear is one of those glovers who tackles king tuts to finger tuts to dials and digits to clusters and combining those all together. And isolations are a part of all of the different types of tech, and he really actually emphasizes a lot of his style on, you know, moving around a point or isolating, you know, something in front of him. His transitions are so smooth, and honestly, his use of space is some of my favorite to watch out of anyone, just because he really understands what the viewer is seeing, and it's a big part of impacting too. You know, if you're pulling lights from over your shoulder, if you pull it straight back, they can't see it, right? So you have to know the angle of the light or of the eye or the angle of the camera to make sure you're placing everything right. And, you know, he does depth perception stuff like this, where you really get a better idea of all the angles and, you know, how he works on the grid in general. You know, he's using all axes a lot of the time, which is great to see.
Dope. Okay. I love the breakdown, honestly. And listen, everyone watching, take notes. Take notes. This is how you get better, you know? So now let's bring it to our special guest, Katz. Katz, I know that you have experience, you know, in gloving and finger tuts, tutting, etc. So you know, you're a blend, you're a mixture of a lot of things. What stood out for you in this show?
You know, honestly, it really brought me back to like when I first started, because like I haven't seen this in so long, and I think because I'm so focused on like just regular finger tutting, like the lights bring this whole like new dimension that like I haven't seen in a long time. And with that, I think there was some concepts in there that I really liked, that I would not be able to recreate because I don't glove anymore. But I definitely remember like watching that back in the day and just being like, oh, this is really cool. So I think it like that nostalgia was really brought like it was dear to me. So I enjoyed it. But I will say I agree with you guys that I think it was lacking something. I don't know what it was, but I definitely felt it rushed at the end. But other than that, like I really enjoyed it, you know.
Nice. That's what's up. That's what's up. I like how there's a consistency of what we're all seeing. We're seeing a very technical, very clean, a little bit rushing. Something's going on internally, it sounds like, with this Glover. But again, overall, I say pretty solid. Now, let's go to Teddy. Those scores.
All right, so we have the scores in. So Bear with a total of 53 out of 80 points, 4.46.5 and 4.36 for cleanliness, use of space, and concepts for lust and Trump. And then from Starlight and myself, 3.5, and 6.5 for delivery, showmanship, and musicality, along with 3, and 6.5 for musicality, delivery, showmanship, musicality from Starlight and me, respectively. Again, totaling 53 points, so a pretty strong showing here. Geometric and Blunt definitely, they're going to have to bring it to beat that. That is not a small score at all. This is going to be fun. I'm excited. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into the next one, which is Geometric. right then. Animated J, that was geometric. You have not seen him before. He was one of the contenders who showed up in round 3. So this is your first time seeing him. So I will ask you, Animated J, how are you feeling?
I feel wonderful. Thank you for that, geometric, because this is a perfect example of bringing that essence of gloving. Like what is gloving, right? It's the trails, the lights, throwing fire, right? You guys be saying throwing fire. It literally looked like his hands had fire. Like, and I mean, I saw a lot of videos. Like I've been seeing a lot of glovers, and it's like it was different. And that's like, again, it's that essence, that ability to bring that imagination of what you are imagining with gloving and physically bringing it. Like the way he's like throwing his fingers, it looks like he's starting a match, like he's starting a lighter. And then he just went off, and then he's so technical, and just the angles, and just I loved it. I enjoy that. I wish, yeah, let's keep that energy. Let's keep that energy. So let's go to, I don't even know, man. Let's go to Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, Teddy. Let's go to you, Teddy. That showmanship, the musicality. Let's talk about the musicality.
Let's talk about the musicality. So I want to cite something. Last round, we had a little bit of a controversy with the Creepa Duck matchup, and some people were a little on both sides of the decision of that matchup. Like, yes, it was correct, and some people were like, oh, I don't know, I think Duck kind of took that. And I realized that that this particular scorecard does favor a little bit of a shorter light show, and the reason is because you have to be able to deliver the entire time at a consistent level with consistent progress. And I just want to point out that, like, if anybody says it can't be done, here's the proof you're wrong, because this was a perfect example of someone who just start to finish just bam, 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 bam. And like there were peaks and valleys. He took us on a ride. Like there were parts of the song that calmed down, and he would calm down with it, but he would still kind of, like you talking about, like those match starting moves. 100%. I love the progression, and I especially felt like he delivered everything effectively, and I was able to digest all of it.
That was beautiful. Speaking now of that, what he was portraying and displaying, Trump. Well, what did you see, or what caught your eyes in terms of difficulty and dexterity?
Thank you, Jay. I thought his digit scales and just every single movement was so clean, so precise. Even his pass throughs, they just all fit in like perfect little puzzle pieces. It's really great to see someone understand the full range of motion and capability of what they can do with not only their fingers, but their hands and their arms as well. One of the cleanest shows I think we might have seen yet. A little crazy on the finger roll thing, but that might just be opinion. But overall, I think he hit just about every portion of my scorecard in some way or another.
That's what's up. I gotta make a comment. The finger rolls in the beginning, I think that's more like an artistic expression of what he was imagining. Again, because I felt like he was playing with sparkles. Like that just gave me like everything related to fire vibe. So anyway, now Starlight, yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah, I have to take a second to be the stickler, because we got to give him the feedback where we can, and I do actually have to be a little bit of a stickler for the musicality. While the musicality was incredibly impactful, I had some difficulty in certain sections, especially that finger roll thing that we were talking about, where it was hard for me to see what sound he was hitting in specifics when he was trying to hit like all of the beats at once. We talk about your hands are on fire. Be careful not to get burned. To me, there were a couple areas of this where I was inferring what beats he was hitting, but I was not being directly shown what beats he was hitting. So there's a bit of me that's got to be a stickler for this. I don't know. Do you see what I'm talking about, Mary? Do you have anything on your end that you could nitpick like that?
No, I definitely agree. There were parts of the show that felt really rushed to me. So I definitely feel you there. And in general, that speed control can be, as Starlight said, very powerful tool. I don't know if I absolutely agree with Trump on some of the complexity. I felt that, he's throwing a lot of amazing moves, but nothing really that is not been seen before, you know what I mean? So I felt like this show for him was way more on the trait side of the scorecard. He was really focusing on musicality. In terms of the tuts, really clean, really beautiful transitions, but nothing too crazy or out there. Same thing for some of his tech, I forget how it's set up, but I think he's thrown that the last couple rounds too. So it doesn't give that as much of an impact. When I first saw it, I was like, never seen that. Didn't know that was possible. Now we know it's possible. So I just he's still going to get a high score on most of my scorecard, but I just wanted to add that.
Oh yeah, this show is wild. It's one of the best we've seen thus far. Like, this is still a really, really good show, but we're in the semifinals of GFC. We gotta be a little mean.
Yeah, and we got a nitpick. We have to nitpick too. I mean, like, how if we looked at all these, without being experienced glovers and things like that, it'd be a very different conversation.
Okay. Well, just real quick before I go to you, Katz, because he reminded me a bit of a Gems or Jules, if Jules would have kept going at it, because I love the angles and the dexterity, and also like the, just the ins and the outs, but also keeping that gloving essence, which I feel is maybe a challenging. Like, some glovers are just strictly very flow, and others are very like technical. But I thought it was a nice blend. But I also love the feedback, guys. That's great. The feedback and the construction, to help build a better version of themselves. But Katz, I know, you're very, I would say, technical. Like, when I see your style with your fingers, what did you feel with this glove? I know the last one seemed a bit more flowy in my perspective, but what did you feel with this guy?
No, I loved it. I think it kind of showcased everything that gloving is supposed to be. Like, he hit all the kind of marks for it. I agree with the musicality in the beginning. I think with a lot of the finger rolls, I didn't really hear where he was coming from. But I still enjoyed it nonetheless. And I don't know, he came out with like the drop with the tuts, and I was like, oh, that's like, I don't see that often. I don't see drops with tuts. Usually you get like the finger rolls or like some like crazy technical stuff, but like just like main, like, hey, like, let's fuck some shit up, like it was crazy. It was really cool, and I liked that.
Nice. Is there something that you would have liked to see more of, perhaps, or not at all?
No, nothing that comes to mind.
All right, nice.
I think overall, though, like, I really enjoyed that show. Like, I was smiling a lot at the end. I was definitely like, oh shoot, like, this is awesome.
You're doing good when people are smiling, so that's
true.
awesome. Okay, let's go to those scores, Teddy.
All right, so it looks like Geometric has pulled ahead, and it coming in with a 59 overall. For under Lust, 4.5, 3.5, and 6 for Cleanliness, Use of Space, and Concepts. For Trump, 4.5, 3, and 7 for Cleanliness, Use of Space, and Concepts. On the trait side, 4, 4, and 7.5 from Starlight under Delivery, Showmanship, and Musicality. And 4, 3.5, and 7.5 under Delivery, Showmanship, and Musicality from myself. So, again, coming in at 59 total. Blunt has got a tall order to beat if he wants to come out ahead of Geometric here. This is good. This is going to be tough. Bear, I want to shout out kudos again to Bear for an amazing showing with 2 awesome videos. And I always enjoy having Bear in our competitions, and I certainly hope that he comes back and we get to see him again. But it is time to find out if Geometric is going to the finals or if Blunt is going to steal it away at the last moment. So without further ado, let's check out Blunt's semifinal light show. Well, that was a lot of fun.
Woo.
Animated J, take it away, man.
I love how he listened to the music and how he highlighted parts of the song, which made me notice things as well in the music. That was nice. That was clean to the point. He had a bunch of variations and concepts in there. Wasn't too crazy. Kept himself. Kept his posture, kept his calmness. Now I know we just talked about musicality from our last Geometric, I believe, right? So I want to start again with Starlight from let's say from what we just saw compared to the last light show. Did you feel this this Glover was more in tune with the music, or what did you feel?
It's kind of the apples to oranges with these two shows. I think when it comes to the musicality, what I really appreciated about the musicality in this one is he gave the beats space to exist. He would pick out like certain specific sounds and we would have pauses. And when he did that little clap clap noise where he went like, that is really mindful musicality where he's actively making choices on what sounds he wants to accentuate and then giving them the full space for them to breathe, which is really, really important and kind of something that I felt Geometric in the last one lacked a little bit. However, with that being said, I still felt like Blunt could have had a little bit more adherence to some structure. I felt that there was a little bit too much floating in between those heavy hits. So it better in certain areas, but there's still some to be desired.
Feel you. Okay. Let's go to Trump. Trump, what did you see? I felt it was pretty solid, pretty clean. Everything seemed to be, structured nicely. Different to say? Any differences or in your view of this? I felt like it was packed together.
It was packed together, but like I said, with all of these shows, they're all super top tier. They're all super clean. It's really gonna come down to the nitpicking on the smallest little mistakes here, and I think that's kind of what we're all doing with grabbing the smallest little things, and that's all we have to go off of, because all of these guys are throwing super clean. They're going around, with the use of space and everything, doing the most that they can to get all these points on the scorecard. As far as Blunt goes, personally, I think that use of space move was huge for him. Maybe a little bit sloppy towards the end, but cleaner than what I normally see from him, to be completely fair. I think he did a great job. Looking forward to scoring this one and seeing where he matches up with Geometric and Bear.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. I'm interested as well. It's going to be interesting to see the results for that one. I was just the thing that I guess the thing that got my attention at first was that intro where he started with the glove like on the camera, and it was cool because it was like, oh, okay. I always loved seeing a different approach, but then it's like, what are you gonna do with it? Like, you gotta do something more than what has already been done, or like, how are you gonna keep elevating it as the show goes? And I guess I would have loved to see some kind of something that was like, I would have never thought of that kind of, experience. But Teddy, I wanted to ask you, what did you think of his approach to this round? His intentions, his approach.
I really enjoyed. I just first want to say that I really enjoyed this light show. This is my favorite light show from him this competition, without a doubt. I want to say I'm pretty much in the same camp as Sari on a lot of this stuff. First thing I want to point out, yeah, that clap move, 100%. Sari literally described it perfectly. He forced you to pay attention to that sound, and I feel like for the brief second before that, you're like, wait, what's he doing? And there was almost this confusion, and then the clap hit, and you're like, oh wait, I get it. And it's almost like he just connected this really long joke, even though it was just a 2-second move that happened to just ride well. So that was just a great delivery choice right there. Basically, yeah, I really enjoyed this show. I think that he delivered everything really well. There were some small points where I'm like, I feel like he lost his train of thought for a second a couple times. But I to be honest, I don't think that I did feel that happen, but I also I don't feel like it was any less prevalent in any of the other two shows we saw today. I feel like I saw moments of that from everyone. So I mean, like, it's kind of one of those, like, that's what's keeping this from perfect in delivery, in my opinion, is those couple moments where he was kind of like, oh yeah, I guess this goes here, and where that was visible. Like I said, that's probably the thing that's keeping it from a perfect on delivery. But other than that, definitely a 4 in that category, and just a great show overall. So.
Okay. Now our last judge, Lust. I wanted to ask you, the lights, using the lights, because of course lights are important. The perspective of the lights, how you're using them. Did you feel this was a high level demonstration of what light shows can give an audience, or what did you feel on that?
Well, I definitely think this is a very different show than what we typically see. Just because he went really heavy on the tuts, and I would argue that they were some of the best we've seen this entire competition. No one was really. Mr. Freckles has some amazing sequences, Seaway, a few others, but I think Blunt really stepped up and focused on what he knows he's good at. That being said, with use of lights, you have to think about how tutting is looking at the viewer. There's more you can do with tutting because you can make trails, right? I mean, a huge thing in tutting while gloving is flail tuts and maneuvering light in that way. But overall, I thought this was a very clean show from Blunt. I thought he did very difficult moves. Use of space. I feel like he's either very far or very close, so I'd kind of like to see him really mix it up within movements more. But yeah, he great show.
Okay. And of course, can't forget about Katz. Katz, now you've just seen 3 Glovers. We've seen Bear, Geometric, and Blunt. Are there any, any similarities, any differences, anything you're seeing that stands out between these 3?
I mean, they were all great. They were all really good. I'd say with this one in the beginning, I mean, yeah, I loved that intro because I was like, oh, that's different. I do agree that I would have wanted to see more with it because it was so different. And I think it would have been really cool to play around with that. But I think that whole beginning aspect was really good, the beginning of the show. There was somewhere in the middle there that got lost for me. I don't know, maybe it was some of the tutting because like you said with the lights, if you don't do it right, you kind of lose that you forget you're in a light show. And I think in that section, I got that. I didn't feel like I was as invested. But then I think towards the end, he kind of picked it up a little bit more. But there's definitely spots of I wanted a little bit more, I think. But overall, it was a great show, and I really enjoyed it.
Nice. The fact that you said about the beginning part where the tuts, where he starts focusing heavy on tuts and kind of losing that essence of light shows. I see that with a lot of the competitors we've seen. I've seen some people are very heavy in the tuts and some people more old school style, some people more flowy. I think it would be cool if someone created a class called Essence of Light Shows so that you can keep that cultural, keep the essence of where it comes from. And I don't know, just a thought. Anyway, let's move on. Teddy, what do you think of those scores? What's up with the scores? Who's
well,
staying? Who's staying? Who's going home?
Initially, for this round, the guest judges are supposed to just provide a point and a half to who they feel is best, and it's not supposed to technically be a tiebreaker. However, in this case, it is going to be a tiebreaker. Jay, before I release these scores, I actually would like to know where I should put Katz's 1.5 wildcard points. Yeah. So, Katz, we have heard your opinions on all 3 light shows. Who gets your points and why?
Okay, so my point goes to Geometric. I just think that he had a good flow. He, like I said, there was an essence of gloving that I was invested. I enjoyed it. I was smiling so much at the end because I was like, oh, this is really, like I said, it brings me back to when I started. I really enjoyed that whole show. So I think my point goes to Geometric for all those reasons.
All right, so Geometric will earn the 1.5 points from Katz, but before we figure out, and it's time to figure out if that is enough. So we're taking a look here, and we have Blunt coming in at 59.5 points, 4, 3.5, and 6.5, 4, 4, and 7 for Cleanliness, Use of Space, and Concepts from Lust and Trump. On the trait side, 4, 3.5, and 7.5, 4, 4, and 7.5 from Starlight and myself for Delivery, Showmanship, and Musicality. Putting Blunt's totaled 59.5, and with Katz's 1.5 wildcard points, Geometric is moving on to the finals by the essence of a light show. He moves on just by that. So I want to thank Blunt and Bear for an absolutely amazing showing. I want to thank Katz for coming in and being the deciding point and a half. I want to thank Animated J, Starlight, Trump, Lust. Thank you guys so much. This is awesome. We will see you guys in a couple days with the next pod for the semifinals.